Moving to Dominic West. He's one of the biggest names in television today. From The Wire to The Hour, he's displayed his versatility and watchability on screen, whether it be as an utterly believable Baltimore detective or as a suave BBC presenter from the 1950s. He's also one of the busiest actors around. I caught up with him recently between performances of Buckley, the funny but still shocking Simon Gray play from 1971, which has been revived to great acclaim in London's West End. I began by asking Dominic West whether the humour has dated over 40 years.
What's interesting is that so many of the class jokes and also I suppose the less PC jokes, well, they're all non-PC, would have been, I think, greeted with great hilarity back in the 70s and are greeted with a sort of gobsmacked tittering now.
Do you want us back?
Frequently, but not permanently. Do you want to come back?
No.
Well, we've cleared that up then. I think we're going to get on very well from this time forth, don't you?
He's a brilliant guy who is a professor of English literature who can only read Beatrix Potter. He can't read anything else now. He's sort of burnt out and alcoholic, and so I was the ideal guy to play it.
He's not a very likeable character.
I mean, I think he is likeable, and
What do you like about him?
Well, I think he's funny, and I think he's funny, and I think he's damaged.
Tom and Reg? What on earth have Tom and Reg got to do with us?
He's asked me to marry him.
Which one?
You look like you're really enjoying playing the comedy.
Yes, yeah.
It's not your usual bent, is it?
No, no one ever asked me to do comedy. I don't understand why.
I want to talk to you a bit about The Hour, because obviously you can't have a drama about current affairs that doesn't include some romance, and there is romance in The Hour. Your relationship with Romola Garai is the kind of spice in there, and also interesting sort of juxtaposition of stereotypes, because you play the slightly dim but very handsome newsreader, and she is the ambitious, sort of, in a way, sexually predatory producer.
Yeah.
Tell me about your relationship.
Belle, Romola's character's flirtation with my character is doomed, I think, but it's and it's purely based on I suppose physicality. You seem very bright this morning.
Well, I had a great night. I didn't sleep a wink.
How extraordinary. Neither did I.
Miss Rowley.
Audacious.
Papers are in.
Oh, Chronicle, Telegraph, Mail, all leading with Suez.
How much difference is there between making a programme like that and making The Wire in Baltimore? I mean, is the difference in budget or in scale or in what?
Yeah, I mean, all of those things. It's that's the difference between British telly and American telly. It's money, and in you know, The Wire we shot for 6 months. The Hour is only three or four. But it's but in terms of the writer being king, The Hour is the same as The Wire.
When you first went to Baltimore, was it a shock to you in a way? Because I think one of the things that was so striking about The Wire was that it was a part of the underbelly of America that we never really see.
And all I could remember very clearly is going round the row houses and these bad neighbourhoods, and which were actually really lovely houses under a very beautiful blue sky, and the producers and the writers saying, you know, it's just, isn't this awful? And I was thinking, God, you should see Sheffield, or you know, some of the inner city Britain where, I don't know, a blue sky can do a lot for a place, and so I wasn't shocked in that way. I suppose I was shocked by the amount of drugs and the amount of guns.
You're one of the very few actors that say that fame's great, you quite enjoy it. I mean, maybe because it sort of crept up slowly with you in your career. Do you still feel that to be the case?
Well, I do, yeah. I'm at a certain level, which is very manageable in that most people don't care. And there's just a few people who usually have watched The Wire, and they tend to be quite interesting people, and and I like talking to them. So I'm at a good level. You know, any more, and I think it would be a pain, and any less, you don't get the perks.
I wondered if you feel a bit like I do. You know, there's no article ever written about me that isn't prefixed with the, you know, gravelly voiced blonde, and I don't think there's any article about you ever written that isn't prefixed with old Etonian.
Yeah, I'd much rather be gravelly faced blonde.
Well, maybe we could swap.
Gravelly voiced
I'd quite like
blonde.
to be in gravelly faced. Thank you. but I wonder if you ever imagined that your parents' choice of school for you would continue to define you, you know, sort of 2 decades at least after you'd left.
It's extraordinary. It's the only thing I ever get asked, and it's the only thing you either respond or you don't. But either way, it's the byline. It's what will be written, and it's not written about any other school. But I suppose it's obviously what readers are interested in. But it's everyone, I think, in acting has to overcome a certain people's idea of them in terms of casting, typecasting, and everybody does, wherever you're from, and that's my one.
Talk to me about playing Iago. Have you always hankered after playing Iago? He would seem to tick a lot of the boxes of the characters that we talked about at the beginning, in that sense of that sort of self-destructiveness, but also the kind of futility. I mean, he's mean in the same way that Buckley is, with no result in the end.
Well, I don't think that's really what attracted me to either Buckley or Iago, but for what they both have in common for me is that they make doing bad and evil, they make it sort of sexy and fun and likable in spite of how destructive it is, and that's delicious to play, and I think I'm going to play him exactly like I'm playing Buckley in many ways, but Iago's the king of that. I haven't seen too many of them, but I definitely think some of it, I mean, his language is gorgeous, prose, and he's not nearly as articulate, supposedly, as Othello, but I think his language is amazing, and his deviousness is so... I just love his sort of grin while he's making absolute mayhem.
I know you've also embarked on playing Fred West,
yes.
Which is quite a controversial choice in a way. Some people horrified that he was going to be brought to the screen. Why did you choose to play him?
Well, I mean, the short answer is that I thought the script was great. And in terms,
quite a responsibility, isn't it, to take on a real character like that?
Absolutely. So I had to obviously to clear it in my own mind, the moral question of whether these monsters should be brought back into the public eye, and I did so through long talks with the producers who referenced the sister of one of his victims, who wrote an article for The Guardian shortly after the case came out, or he committed suicide, saying that this case should never be forgotten, and that the problem, far from going away, is getting worse, and that these things should be discussed, should always be being discussed. And I think drama is a very good way of discussing that. I think what people are horrified of is the idea that that he should be portrayed in a pornographic or a horror format, but I think if it's good drama, then I think that's a perfectly legitimate thing to do. I think it's a very important thing to do, and I think it actually is one of the functions of drama.
The actor Dominic West talking to me yesterday, and now I'm joined by the